You might be thinking that your greatest limitation has something to do with your intelligence, your fears, or with just not being enough, but that's not true. Your greatest limitation actually comes from something much deeper than that. It is something that is ingrained within our culture, and it is the very same thing that gave birth to science. To get a good idea of what this limitation is, we have to look into the structure of the brain itself and into the analytical and rational left side of the brain. This is the masculine side of the mind, and it is what is in charge of reason, logic, analytics, and arithmetic. This side of the brain is what breaks things down into smaller pieces. It is the reductionist side of the brain, and it is what brings everything down into a more simpler form. But when we start to identify with this side of the brain as a way of being, then we start to limit ourselves. These judgments, these opinions that we carry within our perspective is going to be what's going to create separation with everybody in the world. As Aristotle said, we must remember that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And so I would like to explain exactly how this left side of the brain will limit us. And it will be explained through two things: opinion and judgment. I will define opinion as anything that has a need to be defended. If you feel a need to defend any beliefs, then it is an opinion. If you feel the need to defend a fact, then it is an opinion also. If we look into our own way of seeing the world, anything that you have a strong sense of needing to defend, whether it be your identity, an idea, anything that you think of yourself is going to be an opinion. We must learn to let go of these opinions, for they are what's going to cause us to stay fixated and not lead to any evolution. And judgment is when we look at the world through the lens of right and wrong. The truth is that nothing is right or wrong, everything just is. We have to understand that judgment is the source of much of the separation in this world. When we judge ourselves to be superior than anything else, we create a division in the world. It is apparent when we see our treatment of Mother Nature. Human beings believe themselves to be greater or superior to nature itself, and now there is this harmony in the world, and we must mend that relationship. Fuck. Can fly, dude. Alright, the biggest thing here is to understand also that these two things are going to create dogma. Dogma is basically when people take this one idea and they define it as above everything else. And when we live in the universe, we must understand that the universe is infinite. And when we want to constrict it, we also constrict ourselves. And so when we live identified in dogma, identified to opinion or judgment, we're basically living a constricted life. And once we are able to let go of any judgment or opinion that we carry towards anything that comes into our life, we let go of a lot of the external world's influence on us. And so the solution does not lie in the complete abandonment of this aspect of the mind, but rather of a recalibration and a balancing with the feminine aspect of the mind. The right side of the mind is basically the feminine aspect of the mind. It is what allows us to see things holistically, creatively, and to be much more imaginative and also intuitive, which is a plus. How do you come into balance? How do you balance these things out? Well, what I like to do is create a system in which I can easily follow this process. And it begins with meditation, of course, just like a lot of things when it comes to awareness. And so once you start developing this practice of meditation, you become more able at detaching yourself from these opinions and more judgments, and you are able to observe these things. And as you observe these things, you enter into the second stage, which is basically being able to judge your opinions as they come out. So you bring your meditation into your regular awareness, and you're able to see how you judge your situations. For example, when somebody hits you with an opinion, and instead of reacting and getting triggered, you'll be able to observe your reaction without actually acting on it. And that just brings so much more power and so much more peace to your life. And next, the most significant thing I believe is that you're going to be able to seek novelty. Once you realize that you can detach and don't have to react the way that you are used to reacting, you open yourself up to experiencing new things. I like to say that detachment frees you, and in this freedom, you have a desire to expand. Novelty is basically you expanding yourself and also finding yourself. And so I would like to say, stop constricting yourself. I'm talking about diversifying your portfolio as a spiritual being. Be good in finance and be good in relationships. Be good at school and be good at work. And I don't mean good in the sense of good or bad. I just mean in the sense of being competent. And as you go through this process, the left-hand side of the brain will start to loosen up its hold on your life, and you will not see everything through that filter. You actually start to see it as a mix between the right-hand side and the left-hand side. And the result is something supernatural. The way I like to explain the result is basically the opening of your third eye. Once you're able to see with a balanced frame of mind, you're able to see through the illusion of separation. Why? Because you're not judging things anymore between the good and the bad. bad. You're not judging things between right or wrong. You're not judging them dualistically. You're judging them between high and low. Now you're looking into things in terms of how much more they will evolve you spiritually. How much more will they expand you? This basically puts you in a position to be able to become a lot more perceptive than you used to be. And not only that, you can begin to develop the skill of prediction. For me, it also came in the form of relationships. I was able to read people a lot more easily and get to the heart of things a lot quicker. And through that, I was able to create much more meaningful relationships. This will seep into all of your life, and now you will not just see through your 2 eyes, but through your 3 eyes. It will be a triangle where basically the left-hand side and the right-hand side come together to form a human being that is able to not only break things down into its pieces, but also find the meaning within those pieces. You will be able to see the meaning within the smallest dust particle. You will be able to see yourself in the smallest of things, in the plants, in the animals, and in the greatest of things, in the stars and their solar systems. Now that you understand the feminine and masculine principles within your mind, make sure to check this video up here so you can understand them within relationships. All right? Thank you guys for watching. Stay lucid. Peace.